And joining me now is Matthew Schmidt, Associate Professor of National Security and Political Science at the University of New Haven. Thanks so much for being here with us. So first I want to start with the symbolic significance of this visit. I mean, a few days ago, Zelensky was, on the front lines in Bakhmut yesterday, addressing Congress in English in his trademark battle green. What stood out for you?
This is a man in his moment, if there ever was one. He is authentic, he is empathic, and he's just an amazing communicator in how he's able to take the Ukrainian experience and flip it into American lives and look at his audience and say, I wish for your kids to be able to do the things our kids will do in the future, to go to college, and he's really bringing the war home in a way that I think few leaders can. And as far as the trip out from Bakhmut, I think that this is a thumb in the eye of Vladimir Putin directly, to say that he can go to the front lines when Putin can't, and then he can leave from there and end up in the most capital, the most powerful country in the world, is saying a lot about who's on his team.
So you call him an impressive communicator. Do you get the impression Zelensky actually sold his message to his intended audience there?
It's complicated. I think he's a pop culture icon also, and so a lot of what I think he's doing is playing to the American public in the hopes that public will keep the pressure on their representatives to keep money and support going to Ukraine. We've seen some of that slip in the last few days in a Washington Post poll, but I have questions about the poll because of the way it was worded. So I think we have to wait and see. He needed to do this trip. He needed to speak to the American public, and he needed to speak to Congress. And we'll find out in a few weeks how the new Republican Congress reacts.
Yeah, among the needs there is the Patriot missile system. I mean, that was central to his ask. So practically speaking, why is getting more of them so crucial?
Russia's strategy right now is to use the Ukrainian public as a weapon, to use winter as a weapon, as the president said, to drive people from their homes into the cold, to cut off electricity. And they're doing that with missiles that are hitting civilian infrastructure. And the Patriots have a good shot at stopping those missiles from doing that. In other words, from blunting the key weapon that Putin is using right now.
But so the fear was that the Patriots might be seen as a serious escalation. Why do you think that the thinking on the U.S. side may have changed? And are they responding to anything that they're perhaps learning from the Russians?
So this was a question in the presser earlier on, and the president basically dismissed it and said, we've discussed this and we feel fine. I think the real answer here is that Putin could find any reason to call this a proxy war between America and Russia. And so the fact is that there are a lot of reasons that Putin doesn't want to do that, because he doesn't want to draw NATO in. And so I'm not sure how this time is any different than previous escalatory periods in the war right now, where Russia said things but didn't actually escalate.
When it comes to President Biden, how aligned are he and Zelensky, do you think? And where is the daylight still?
I think you have to take him at his word that he's in all the way. I think what's happened is that American policy has sort of gone, step by step in this direction, and now essentially it's all in. Even though it did it, very slowly over the course of the last year, but now we're there, and we can't back out. Right, the fact that we're in as deep as we are means we have to finish the war. We have to allow Ukraine to win this in the battle space, which Biden said over and over again, in order to create security for Ukraine. The way out of this is security for Ukraine. If negotiations aren't going to get that for him, then he has to win on the battle space, and I think that's what everybody's looking at now.
All right, we'll have to leave it there, but really appreciate your analysis, Matthew Schmidt. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.